Caring viewers, welcome to Planet Earth, our loving home. From October 26th to 29th, 2009, the 31st session of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, was held in Bali, Indonesia. The panel is a scientific body that provides a comprehensive scientific view of the current state of climate change and its projected future effects on the environment, society, and the global economy by reviewing the latest data on the subject. For its efforts to raise public awareness about climate change, the panel shared the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize with former U.S. Vice President Al Gore. During the session, approximately 350 government officials and climate scientists from around the globe gathered to discuss the proposed chapter outlines of the panel's fifth assessment report, or AR5, to be published in 2014. The report is part of an ongoing series featuring in-depth scientific data on global warming that includes adaptation and mitigation options. Today we'll present selected excerpts from presentations made during the session and Supreme Master Television interviews with participants. Here, panel chairman Dr. Rajendra Pachauri opens the session with a welcoming speech.
Your Excellency, Mr. Rahmatullah, distinguished persons at this head table, distinguished colleagues, delegates from various countries, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege for me to be here on this occasion. Indeed, Bali not only represents a very pleasant set of surroundings, but it also has a historical role in essentially defining what's going to be done in Copenhagen. Because do recall that it was in Bali that we came up with the roadmap, which hopefully will take us to our destination. I believe this is a historical moment in the field of climate change and everything related to knowledge in this critical area of human endeavor. I think we know that our task has not ended. The work of science in motivating, in defining action, in facilitating what needs to be done is certainly not over. It's just beginning. Because we must remember that if we get an agreement in Copenhagen, which I'm sure will be the case, it's going to set in motion a lot of action all over the world.
In November 2007, the panel released its fourth assessment report, Climate Change 2007, to which more than 1,200 authors and 2,500 scientific expert reviewers from over 130 countries contributed.
We have learned from the fourth assessment report of the IPCC that our climate has unequivocally and evidently changed, and that such change could likely be irreversible. Societies can and have responded to climate change by adapting to its impacts and by reducing greenhouse gases emissions or mitigation, thereby reducing the rate and magnitude of the change. As demonstrated in a few other global environmental challenges, the debates and progress to adapt and mitigate climate change is very much driven by the advancement of science, which is embodied in the IPCC and its highly reputable scientists. We gather here in Bali to lay a strong foundation for the next IPCC assessment report, due in 2014.
During the session, participating scientists cited the many adverse effects of global warming, such as extreme weather, steadily climbing global temperatures, rising sea levels, large-scale crop damage, intense flooding, and continual droughts. In short, human activities, particularly livestock raising, have rapidly fueled climate change, creating a highly unstable planet prone to frequent disasters. Dr. Hong Yan, Deputy Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, explains further.
Due to climate change, the Earth's climate system intend to lose the balance. Okay, in scientific words, equilibrium. Once they lose equilibrium, they are oscillating. You may observe more frequent extreme climate and weather events. Okay, that's why these days some report, they even report extremely cold winter. For example, a few years ago in southern part of China, it is icy. Okay, during the Spring Festival, whole southern part of China, they're suffering the snow and the icy storm. Okay, so some people even complain, you said global warming, why this is icy winter? Okay, in fact, this is extreme. Okay, because the climate system lose balance, so they are oscillating. Okay. And the extreme events also including very drought events. Okay, the drought will cause a lot of unexpected disasters. For example, Australia. Okay, the Sydney recently report a very, very strong sandstorm. Okay, probably most of the people already see the scenery. The whole sky turns brown and reddish. Okay, that is indeed due to the extreme drought.
The fourth assessment report states that over the last 100 years, the average global temperature has risen by 0.74 degrees Celsius, a very significant change.
When the ice cap melting, especially Antarctica, okay, the sea level will rising. Okay, as the sea level rising, then this low-level land, small island country and others were immediately affected. Those countries, they are big, but they have a long coastline. Okay, those cities near the sea, located in the coast, they will also inevitably suffer this sea level rising.
In the end, it is our duty as the global community to save our own civilization and the only planet that we call home. Hence, it is therefore imperative to reveal more local evidences from climate change processes, to enhance local wisdom of adaptation and mitigation measures, and to foster knowledge exchanges.
After these brief messages, Planet Earth, Our Loving Home, will return with more from the 31st session of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in Bali, Indonesia. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
We are at a crucial moment in the destiny of the human race.
Our plea to the world is really to consider the climate change as a reality.
Welcome back to Planet Earth, Our Loving Home, where we are featuring interviews and presentations from the 31st session of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change held in Bali, Indonesia in October 2009. Most developing countries have been heavily impacted by global warming. For example, island nations such as the Seychelles, located east of Africa in the Indian Ocean, have seen rising sea levels and higher tides. The seawater often comes inland, sinking into the underground water supplies and ruining agriculture. Mr. Antoine Marie Moustache, Chief Executive Officer of the Seychelles Agricultural Agency, shares his nation's experiences with climate change.
We're experiencing sea level changes because of thermal expansion, higher sea surface temperature, and this is coupled with higher wind conditions. Then you find that at high tides, the seawater is whipped onto the shore. In fact, in certain cases, you find seawater seepaging into the coastal zone. It's not obvious probably, but it comes in the soil and affects the freshwater resource on the coast. It affects the plants that are being grown on the coast. It's important to note that in the case of the Seychelles, 70% of the traditional agricultural land is found on the coast. If there is seawater seepaging into the agricultural soil, definitely that would affect food production. There is negative impact on food security of the islands.
Global warming has also radically changed rainfall patterns, with high fluctuating precipitation jeopardizing food supplies for many nations.
Since 1997, we've had a series of extreme events in which we've had periods of intense rainfall followed by periods of drought. It's like the sky opens up. Now, with that, any crop out in the field is automatically and immediately damaged. So that means loss of farm income, loss of livelihood, but above all, a loss of food security. On the other hand, in times when there is drought, there is difficulty in cultivation. This also implies that there is a loss of income, there's a loss of production, and consequently a loss in food security.
Fiji, located in the South Pacific, recently experienced intense flooding and has seen more and more land lost to sea. Mr. Rajendra Prasad, Director of the Fiji Meteorological Service, gives his perspective on this frightening trend.
We have observed fairly extreme events. No, nothing seems to be normal these days. There's very extreme floods. For example, we experienced one of the worst floods in 50 years in January this year. And we have seen coastlines changing with soil erosion, storm surge effect, wave effect, and you name it. So in a way, there has been a visible effect of climate change. Fiji itself has got over 300 small islands. So in the outer islands, or the erosion of the coastline will have impact and maybe even require people to be relocated. Most of the villages are near the coastline or the mouth of rivers, and they're all being affected.
Alphonse Kanga, a meteorologist from Congo in Central Africa, has witnessed many unsettling changes in his nation's weather patterns.
Donc la décennie, la température minimale est en train d'augmenter. Et nous avons aussi remarqué dans la partie nord du pays une augmentation du nombre d'inondations. On peut comparer, par exemple, dans la décade 60, de 60 à 70, on avait eu une seule inondation dans la plaine alluviale, dans la plaine Nord-Congo, alors que dans les années 90, nous avons eu à remarquer autour de 3 à 4 inondations. Ce qui est important, donc c'est des effets des changements climatiques. Deuxièmement, aussi dans une région où la température était très faible et les manguiers ne produisaient pas. Maintenant, on commence à observer des fruits qui poussent.
What can be done about the heating of our planet? In their recently published paper, Livestock and Climate Change, in World Watch magazine, former and current World Bank environmental experts, Dr. Robert Goodland and Jeff Anhang, conclude that more than 51% of human-caused global greenhouse gas emissions come from the livestock industry. These experts also point out that factory farming puts out enormous amounts of methane, accounting for more than 37% of all anthropogenic sources. This toxic gas has 72 times the global warming potential of carbon dioxide over a 20-year period. Dr. Goodland and Mr. Anhang conclude that the best strategy for reversing climate change is for humanity to adopt a plant-based diet.
Considering livestock causes 51% of the global greenhouse gases, what should the world be focusing on?
Well, I mean, that's really quite a significant observation, and basically it means that we need to reduce livestock in general, and so eat less meat. I think we should rely on more vegetables, green stuff, rather than livestock.
I am very much for vegetarian diet, but I am not the vegetarian myself, but maybe I become someday. I think also the medical authorities say that people eat too much meat in Europe, so I think if you can get to eat less meat, it is a good move now.
May the good news about the organic vegan diet spread far and wide, and may this life-saving way of living be adopted as the solution to our planetary crisis during the United Nations Climate Summit in Copenhagen. For more details on the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, please visit www.ipcc.ch. Eco-conscious viewers, thank you for your company on today's program. Please join us next Wednesday on Planet Earth, Our Loving Home, for part 2 of our feature on the 31st session of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. May your life be imbued with divine love and grace.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/PE